Here are my 3 starts and sits for NFL Week 1. First, number 1, wide receiver Jaylen Waddle for the Miami Dolphins. Hey, this is a new channel. This is a new page. I've been talking about fantasy football quite a bit for a few months now in off-season mode. Now we need to pivot into in-season mode. We drafted Jaylen Waddle and Tua kind of late because we're worried about injuries to both guys. Waddle, Tua, the offense in general, what are they going to be? Right now, though, week 1, they're both healthy. When Jaylen Waddle and Tua play together, Jaylen Waddle he's a top 24 guy. So if they're starting together, I'm starting Jaylen Waddle in my lineup. It's about as easy as that. The risks are still there for season long, but this is week 1. We're not looking at pre-draft rankings or things like that. And when they're both healthy, Jaylen Waddle should be in your lineup at wide receiver or at flex. The first set of players that I'm sitting, it's a pair. It's a combo. It's Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland. If we're ranking the difficulty of transitioning from college football to the NFL, I would say running backs do it the easiest, then wide receivers, and then pretty far down the line is tight end. So I would expect a running back rookie to be going full speed for what they're going to be in their offense by week 6, 7, 8, maybe a little bit later for wide receivers. Some guys do it earlier at both positions. But tight ends, man, it's kind of a crapshoot. Like Trey McBride, one of the top drafted tight ends this year, was not fantasy relevant for the first year and a half of his career. Now, Colston Loveland and Tyler Warren are different levels of prospect than Trey McBride, but I still worry about it. I want to see it. And if I can avoid starting these guys in week 1, I am. The upside is immense. If these guys are the next Laporta, the next Bowers, that's league-winning upside, but I want to see it before I trust it in my 14 regular season fantasy football weeks. The second player I am for sure trying to start this week is Xavier Worthy, wide receiver for the Chiefs. I'm high on the upside of Xavier Worthy for this year for a second-year breakout in Andy Reid's offense. I've seen a lot of players in Andy Reid's offense come on slow in the first year. Mahomes didn't start the first year. Tyreek Hill wasn't Tyreek Hill in the first year. Rashee Rice didn't come on late until his rookie year, or until late in his rookie year. So I'm expecting a big step forward for Xavier Worthy on top of all of that. So I'd been saying I'm high on Xavier Worthy all offseason. On top of all of that, Rashee Rice isn't there. The offense of the Chiefs last year is not the same as it will be this year. There were a lot of key injuries. They had to rely on Xavier Worthy late in the year because Rashee Rice was hurt. Pacheco was hurt. There were weeks they were starting 7th round fullback Carson Steele as the lead running back option for this team. Like, that is not a healthy offense. That's not a functional offense. Like, literally, they weren't healthy, but it's hard to stay a functional offense when you're starting that many different options, that many like 3rd, 4th, 5th options. This was a team that had to trade for DeAndre Hopkins mid-season just to have enough starting wide receivers out on the field. So Xavier Worthy, I'm expecting the Chiefs offense to bounce back a little bit from their even further down last year. You know, they were an offense that was putting up about 30 points a game. Then they took a step back in 2023. And then last year, 2024, I was expecting them to take a step forward. But with all of those injuries, they took another slight step back. So I'm still believing that they will bounce back a little bit. And that will really help Xavier Worthy. And I think we'll see it week 1. On top of all of that, they're playing in Brazil. Now, we saw the game last year in Brazil between the Eagles and the Green Bay Packers in week 1. It was kind of a shootout. Slippery field conditions. I don't know if both teams are ready for the field conditions this week, but if we see another shootout with a lot of people slipping and falling, I think Xavier Worthy is a big beneficiary of that. That's not the main reason. I just like to throw it in at the end. The second player I'm trying to sit if I can, it's rookie running back RJ Harvey for the Denver Broncos. Now, J.K. Dobbins is there. I think he'll be the lead guy in week 1. I'm still really high on RJ Harvey for the year. I just don't know that I'll see it in week 1. In my mind, I'm expecting this offense to look pretty similar to what we saw with Sean Payton on the Saints with Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram, or other 2 running back sets that he has had over the years. So I'm high on RJ Harvey, replacing Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams had 70 targets last year, and those could all just transition right over to RJ Harvey. The offensive line in Denver is great. The whole running back room has been revamped and should be much better. That should help this offense grow. But in week 1, I want to see it. Same thing like I was saying with Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland. I don't know how quickly RJ Harvey transitions over to the NFL. So if I don't have to start him in week 1, I want to see it before I trust him in my lineup. Third starter that I'm trying to start anywhere I can, it's Ken Walker, running back for the Seahawks. Similar to what we were saying with Jaylen Waddle earlier, the reason we would draft Ken Walker a little bit late is because we're worried about health. He has missed some time over the past couple of years. But in this offense for Seattle, with new offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak, I think he stays with what we saw last year, getting multiple targets a game. That's incredibly valuable for a running back. He has massive big play potential. Ken Walker has week winning upside from week to week. We've seen him put up 30 points, high 20 points. He has long breakaway touchdowns. We do worry about his durability, and we worry about him bouncing around and not taking every play as it comes. Charbonnet is still there. I think Ken Walker is still the lead guy. And in week 1, as long as he's healthy, in any given week, I will probably be starting Ken Walker, especially in week 1. The last player that I'm trying to sit if I can is Calvin Ridley. Now, I've been calling for a big breakout for Calvin Ridley. Maybe not quite his main breakout. He's been wide receiver 5 on a fantasy season back when he was with Atlanta. I think he gets back to that elite talent level that we've seen from him with some age regression. He's getting older. He's past the age apex for wide receivers, but I still expect him to be the lead receiver for the Tennessee Titans. I think Cam Ward helps this offense take a step forward, take a step past what we saw with the quarterback there last year. Why am I blanking on Mayo's name? Will Levis. I almost had to look him up. I don't know why I couldn't remember Will Levis's name. I think Cam Ward obviously helps this offense outproduce what the Titans were doing with Will Levis last year, and Calvin Ridley will be a beneficiary of that. We've seen guys take a step forward when their offense gets better in situations like Terry McLaurin going from a wide receiver 3 to a wide receiver 1 with Jaden Daniels. Last year, we saw Cortland Sutton go from a wide receiver 3 to a wide receiver 2 with Bo Nix in Denver. And I think we can see a similar thing with Calvin Ridley this year. But in week 1, he's playing the Denver Broncos. I'm expecting him to be shadowed by Patrick Surtain. And if I can avoid Calvin Ridley, I am.